If you're moving to France with preschool-age children, or you're thinking about maybe having kids after you move here, then this video is definitely for you. There are 4 main types of daycare in France, plus a few variations on a theme, and we have personal experience with 2 of them, but today I'm going to tell you about all 4 main categories in about 5 minutes. This is France in 5 minutes. Let's go. Option 1 is the Nounou, what we call a nanny in English. And the pros of having a Nounou are that they come to your home, you get one-on-one care for your child, maximum personal attention, and flexible scheduling. Nounous are great if you have very young babies or an unusual work schedule and strange hours and you need maximum flexibility. The trade-off is that a Nounou is usually the most expensive option, and depending on how you set it up, you may become their employer, dealing with the contract and social charges and the whole thing. Agencies do exist to handle this, but of course you're still paying for that, so they tend to be pretty pricey. And the thing that a lot of people don't think about is that if your Nounou gets sick, your entire system collapses. There is no backup. Congratulations, you are the backup. Option 2 is the assistant maternelle, what they just call an AM for the most part. And an AM is not a nanny. They are a licensed childcare provider. They are state regulated. There's an official agreement. And they care for children in their own home, usually up to 4 at a time per actual AM. Some of the advantages are first that it can be more personal than a big crèche, which is the French word for daycare, because there are basically 4 kids in total. So they develop real relationships, real routines. It's more of an extended family type of an environment. And there's generally more availability with assistant maternelles than places in the city daycares or municipal crèche. Those spots tend to be a little bit rare. We'll talk about that more in a minute. The catch is that in most cases, you are the employer, which is, again, you taking care of the contract and paying the social charges, doing all the admin, their pay slips. So if you have CAF, that can help offset the cost, but the admin does fall on you, and it does tend to, again, be more expensive than a city daycare. There's a variation of having an AM, which is a MAM, a Maison Assistant Maternelle, which is a group of 2 to 4 licensed caregivers working in one space. So you have a bit more structure and there's a bit more socialization for your child, and it's worth knowing that that also exists. Now, option 3 is the Crèche Municipale, the city daycare. Now, this is what most working parents dream about, and it's much closer. It's basically the closest thing to the U.S. daycare system that you might be used to if you're coming from the U.S. You have a professional staff, very structured days, meals are included, they have planned activities. You basically drop your child off, go to work or do your thing, and then you pick your child up at the end of the day, and you're done. When the crèche uses the CAF or PSU funding model, which most city daycares do, the price is calculated based on your family income. So it scales, and that's a very civilized way to do it, I think. Now, we actually got into a Crèche Municipale in our previous city. Jenny's first year was at one of those where we used to live. We found out that they only have a 25% acceptance rate, so we felt very lucky to get a spot. Some of the reasons were that we were this multicultural immigrant family, and we only lived 3 blocks away, which was probably also a big factor in this. And the daycare director told us that she loved our daughter's name, Geneva, and she said that's basically why we got in. And I'm sure that's a nice story, but I think those other factors probably had more influence. But hey, we'll take it. We gladly took it. But here's the reality check. As I said, these are the most sought out option for most people. Therefore, getting a spot is really competitive. So my tips are to apply early, like even before your child walks, if possible, or before you even had the child, depending on what time of year it is and when you are going to want to start. Admissions tend to be in the spring or fall only. So you want to get ahead of this and apply at least 6 months ahead of when you want the child to start. And the application windows do vary by city. And one other thing to know is that once you're in, strikes do happen in France. And as these are city workers, the daycares are subject to all the other reasons that municipal structures might strike. They do tend to give you some notice, but there are holiday closures as well. So you need to have a backup plan in case, there is a greve a strike in France. And the main option number 4 is the Crèche Parentale, the parent-run daycare. That's what we have right now in our new city. We had applied to the municipal system here, but we didn't get a spot. And there are events that are held a couple of times a year where all of the alternatives to a city daycare have representatives, and parents like us can go and talk to the different people, see what might work. You can meet agencies for Nounous. There are assistant maternelles and agencies for MAMs. And so we discovered the Crèche Parentale there. What a Crèche Parentale is that they have a professional childcare staff, a director and educators, the full structure, just like a city daycare. The kids get real collective daycare, their meals and activities, and the socialization, all of it. It's very much the same type of an experience. And the creche system in general is very much like a Montessori school. And so it's a very enlightened way to develop the whole child. I really think it's a pretty great system. The difference is that a Crèche Parentale is run as a parent association, which means that the parents, you and us in this case, are part of the administrative layer. There are permanences, which are shifts that you sign up for ahead of time, but you basically come in and assist, and that's everything from doing the dishes that are left over, dealing with laundry, helping pick up and take out the trash, and you might help take care of the kids during the pickup window in the afternoon. You also have monthly meetings, and there are association roles. There's a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, events, maintenance, and cleaning. You know, we thought we were choosing daycare, but we sort of accidentally joined a tiny French nonprofit. It's been a real experience being part of this. And here's the part that has honestly made this particularly challenging for us. Susie and I, easily the two worst French speakers in the whole group, had to do a role, of course, like everyone does. We were given the events and communications role. And every other family are either native French people or they've been here at least 15 or 20 years and they basically have native-like fluency. And then there's us. You know, this is fine. We've been making it work with a lot of translation help. But honestly, despite the challenges for us, namely that Susie has a full-time salary job across the city, so I am dealing with all the daycare stuff myself at the moment, you do get to know everyone really well, and the kids form real bonds. You get to know all the parents as well as the staff and all the other kids. And, you know, you get really invested in this place in a way that you never would be if you were just like a customer dropping off and picking up a child. So for us as immigrants trying to build real community here, the Crèche Parentale gave us something that we suspected, but we didn't really know for sure that we needed, and it's been pretty great. And then there are the cousin categories to all of these that I mentioned. I already talked about the MAMs, which is a collection of assistant maternelles. There are micro-crèches, which tend to be private institutions, and there are crèche familiales, where families run it completely. They are smaller and, again, often private variations on these different themes, but they're real options that are worth knowing about, but that's a separate video. So 2 years, we've been part of 2 systems, and that's my honest take on it. If you want the cleanest, most hands-off experience, really try to get into a Crèche Municipale. Get on the list immediately, apply before your child is even born if you can. If you want flexibility and a highly customized, more personal feel, and you can afford it, go for a nanny or a assistant maternelle. But you have to budget for the admin, both financially and also in terms of the time it's going to take you to do that. But if you really want community and you can survive the 3+ hour monthly meetings in French, then the Crèche Parentale is worth it. Just know that you're not just signing up for basic daycare. You are signing up for essentially a second job that occasionally involves some dirty work. You're going to get your hands dirty. So understand that French daycare is not just daycare. It is a bureaucratic, emotional, logistical, and occasionally beautiful adventure. This is France in 5 minutes. A bientôt.